These are times Sideshow Bob actually helped the Simpsons. Homer survives an assassination attempt, and since the police struggle to find a lead, the Simpsons ask Sideshow Bob for help. The great louse detective opens with Homer opening mail and seeing that the family has been invited to a free weekend at Stagnant Springs Spa.
Oh, that place is famous.
Well, I guess that means they must go. When they get there, they have a nice time until someone tries to take out Homer. Why is that even an option? Homer starts feeling too hot and he realizes something is wrong. Homer almost boils to death, but thankfully, Krusty removed the screwdriver and opened the sauna before that happened. Homer and Marge went to the police to report what happened, and Wiggum said they will catch the killer, but Marge wasn't satisfied with just that. She said that they needed to do something to protect Homer. Chief Wiggum thought about it for a bit, and he came up with a plan. He took them to someone who understands the twisted mind of a murderer. When Wiggum opened the door, Bart and Lisa started screaming.
Just call me Bob.
It's weird hearing his name without the Sideshow in front of it. Chief Wiggum told Sideshow Bob that if he helps them catch Homer's attempted killer, they'll make it worth his while by giving him the lead in the new prison musical. Bob agreed, and he said he will need round-the-clock access to all the Simpsons, especially Bart. Homer thought that this is an excellent idea, and that he can just stay with them. But Bart couldn't believe that, since Bob tried to off him so many times it's not even funny anymore. But Chief Wiggum put a shock garter on Sideshow Bob, and he gave Bart the remote to control it with. Bob said that they can surely agree not to use it, but Bart already went for the button.
Sorry.
They're having too much fun with this. Sideshow Bob asked Homer to name all the people who would have a reason to do a mill, and Homer had to think for a bit. He first named the obvious ones: Mr. Burns, Fat Tony, the Emperor of Japan, ex-President Bush. Then Marge added the late Frank Grimes and the whole state of Florida.
How can one man have so many enemies?
I'm a people person who drinks.
Maybe we couldn't understand that statement when we were younger, but I'm sure most of us relate now. Sideshow Bob told Homer that in order to identify his assailant, he must follow him through the course of a normal day. So Homer took Sideshow Bob to the Quickie Mart, and he saw that there will be a Mardi Gras celebration in a few days. Sideshow Bob took a moment to remember the time he robbed the Quickie Mart while dressed as Krusty, his one successful crime. Apu told him that he really appreciated what a gentleman he was about it, and he said that today's robbers are all smash and crab. Homer bought a magazine, and he and Bob went about their day. When Homer crashed his car because he was trying to prove that he could read and drive at the same time, Homer called his mechanic Junior, and he told him he expects his car to be fixed with quality parts.
Your car was built in Croatia. It's made from old Soviet tanks.
Sideshow Bob decided to try another thing. He hung up a doll that looks like Homer, and he said that all they need to do is sit and wait for the assailant to show himself. But then a lot of people started approaching the doll and hitting it or throwing things at it. But then Homer approached the doll and started hitting it and saying that once he kills it, everyone will think he's the real Homer.
None of this seems odd to you.
Bob, you better get used to it. Later, Homer and Sideshow Bob were at Moe's, and Lenny and Carl were questioning Bob about how has he never managed to successfully kill Bart. But then someone opened the bar door and shot inside, but the shot missed Homer. Homer got scared because the assailant was getting closer, but so was Bob's investigation. He noticed that the spa invitation had a black smudge on it. Unfortunately, this didn't take him anywhere, and he told Homer and Marge that he doesn't know who the killer is, but he knows he'll strike again. Sideshow Bob said that Homer's best bet of staying alive is to stay completely out of sight. Homer said he will take Bob's advice, but then a party came through the door and said that Homer has been elected the king of Mardi Gras.
Good things do happen to bad people.
The fact that he is aware that he is a bad person and has done someone wrong should be concerning enough as it is. Marge pointed out that the king of Mardi Gras has to ride around on a float all day, and that Homer will be a sitting duck, but he didn't care about any of that.
You only won because somebody stuffed the ballot box with these.
Homer is happy and says that the people have spoken anyway. Yeah, the people who want you dead. On the day of the parade, Bob noticed that he didn't even hear the float engine start, and he made a comment about it when he heard that some mechanic tuned it up before the parade started, and that's when it hit him.
A mechanic? That's it?
Good job, Sherlock. Bob tried to tell Homer to get off the float, but Homer couldn't do it because he was moving too fast. Lisa saw that the float was heading straight for the Museum of Swordfish, because that isn't random at all. And this is when Bob really shocked us all.
Must save buffoon.
I mean, if he did want to make his job of offing Bart easier, wouldn't it be logical to let his buffoon of a father die? Bob realized that saving a life made him feel good. And that's when someone on stilts fired a gun at him and Homer. They stole a pair of stilts from the bullies and ran towards Homer's assailant. They cornered him, and Homer recognized the man as his mechanic, Junior.
Frank Grimes, Jr.
Frank.
Yeah, I don't think Homer remembers. But in case you don't remember either, this is Frank Grimes.
Well, I don't need safety gloves because I'm Homer Simpson.
Rest in peace, Grimy. Homer was confused since he remembers Frank didn't have a wife, but his son said, well, he said he enjoyed an occasional lady of the night. Then Chief Wiggum came and arrested Frank Grimes Jr. and congratulated Sideshow Bob on good detective work. But then he told the other cops to give Bob the rhino tranks. Later that night, Bart was telling Homer how he's glad he wasn't assassinated by a psycho, and Homer said he is too. But when he closed the door behind him, Sideshow Bob was patiently waiting for him. Bob said he's gonna take Lenny's advice and kill Bart without delay, but then...
I can't do it.
But this wasn't the only time Sideshow Bob was there to help the Simpsons out in a tough time, although they didn't show him the same courtesy. Homer brings the whole family along when he's sent to Italy to pick up a new sports car for Mr. Burns. But when they crash the car, they are forced to seek help from a local mayor, the mayor being none other than Sideshow Bob. The Italian Bob opens with Mr. Burns wanting to buy a new car, and he orders one from Italy, but he needs Homer to bring him the car.
A Lamborghini Fastarossa. That's the car I think about when I make love to my wife.
I think Mr. Burns' reaction was valid here, because what else are you supposed to say to something like that? Mr. Burns tells Homer that he will send him to Italy to pick up the car at the factory and ship it directly back to him, so that way he can save money in taxes.
Can I take my family?
Sure,
Do I have to hang out with him?
it would be nice.
Well, there's always the option to not take your family with. When the family landed in Italy, they went straight to the factory, and Homer said that they need to drive the car directly to Rome, where it will be shipped to Mr. Burns in Springfield. Marge was disappointed because she hoped they would get to see a bit more of Italy, but that's all Homer needed to hear.
Are you encouraging me to be irresponsible?
Why don't you encourage him to get us some health insurance?
Bart, maybe you were a bit too on the nose there. After exploring Italy for some time, the Simpsons hit the road, but they crashed the car and ended up in a village in Tuscany. Homer was trying to talk to an elderly woman, but she didn't speak English.
Why can't you people learn to speak my language? I learned to eat your food.
Yeah, because that's the equivalent. The woman explained that the mayor speaks English, and they could get some help from him. But when they entered the mayor's office, a big surprise was awaiting them.
They say you speak English.
Indeed, I do.
Sideshow Bob!
The Simpsons!
Now that was completely unexpected. Sideshow Bob said that he is just as sorry to see them as they are to see him. They asked him how he ended up being a mayor of a small village in Italy, and he told them his story. Bob said that after another failed attempt at killing Bart, he needed a fresh start. So he moved to the small village of Salsiccia, but acceptance didn't come quickly. His luck changed when the grape harvest began. Fortunately for everyone, Bob's big feet were perfect for stomping grapes.
Never had I felt such acceptance. The next spring, the contadini elected me their mayor.
If that's all it really takes to come to a position of power, sign me up. Then Bob's wife entered the room with their son, which took Homer by surprise, because he always thought Bob was, as he said it, loud and proud.
I experimented in college, as one does.
I never went to college.
Stop the presses.
Touché, Sideshow Bob, touché. Marge introduced herself and her family to Francesca and little Gino, but when she heard Bart's name, she said that that's the name her Roberto cries when he has a bad dream. Bob tried to save the situation by saying that he and Bart used to go fly fishing together.
Die, Bart! Die, Bart!
I think he passed down all the wrong genes. Francesca invited the Simpsons to stay over for dinner and tell her more about Roberto, as she calls him, and she added,
He makes love like a man who just got out of jail.
yeah, well, maybe that's because he did. When Francesca left the room, Sideshow Bob begged the Simpsons not to destroy the new life he created here. Marge was shocked that he hadn't told his new wife about his past life, and Bart added that his family will find out sooner or later when he tries to kill him again. Bob laughed and told Bart that
You'll make some murderer very happy one day. But it shan't be me.
Marge says that Bob is a family man now, She also adds that you can't be a bad person if you have a family. Marge, say that sentence again, please. I think you'll find great irony in it. The Simpsons agreed to keep their mouths shut about Bob's past if he fixes their car, and he accepted the terms. After a few days or weeks, you know how weird time is in this show, the car was fixed, and the family was supposed to go back to Springfield. So Bob raised a glass for the Simpsons, and they all had a nice dinner, and everyone was drinking, even the kids. Lisa got a bit too drunk, and she made a scene during Marge's toast.
It's obvious why Bob is a vaunted pillar of your community.
But he's a wanted killer in our community.
Hey, at least she rhymes when she's drunk. But when Bob tried to brush it off by saying that drunken kids tell the ugliest lies, he accidentally ripped his suit and revealed the prison tracksuit underneath.
You have brought the shame upon our humble, mafia-controlled village.
That sounds a bit hypocritical, don't you think? But on the other hand, why was he even in that orange jumpsuit anyway? Sideshow Bob swore that he would get vendetta on the Simpsons family, and they all ran into the car and started driving away.
I feel so sick.
It's called a hangover, sweetie, and it's an unavoidable part of life.
I wouldn't call it unavoidable, but hey, at least it was Lisa who ruined Bob's life this time and not Bart. Bob starts chasing after the Simpsons, but they manage to outrun him when Francesca appeared and told him that if they dishonored him, they have dishonored their whole family.
We should take revenge as a family.
Vendetta for me, Papa.
Oh, they're just like Joe Goldberg and Love Quinn. I guess vendetta is a dish best served family style. Bart saw that Krusty is in an opera home in Rome and that he can help them, but when they asked him for help, he wasn't so eager to stick his neck out. They managed to convince him. He gave them costumes and told them to go out on stage with him because Bob surely won't kill them in front of all those witnesses. But they underestimated Bob, and he actually came on stage and started performing.
That's Sideshow Bob.
I know, and he's magic.
Okay, Homer, focus here, man. Krusty ended up saving the family, but it wasn't without a price.
I need someone to help me smuggle antiquities to America.
Of course he's smuggling something. But what will happen years later after Bob comes out of prison? Lisa becomes friends with Sideshow Bob after she finds out he has a new job working with genetically modified foods. The Man Who Grew Too Much opens with Lisa finding out that the food in Springfield Elementary is genetically modified, and she becomes concerned about it. So she called a meeting at school to discuss the GMO issue. Lisa says she wants to play the first video. The video was everything but scientific, so Lisa said she will conduct her own research, and she told everyone to sit tight and not form any opinions. She came back with the conclusion that GMOs aren't actually bad, and that they might end up solving world hunger. She got parents on board with adding more genetically modified foods to schools, and one science woman came to thank her for her work. She said she'd like to invite her and her family to the research lab, and they accepted. The woman explained that they're trying to change the world one molecule at a time. But Marge said it sounded like it could take a while, and the woman agreed.
Everyone, 3 molecules at a time.
You gotta be kidding me!
Marge, you just made a lot of people's lives a lot harder. Lisa said that it's nice to see that for once a corporation cares about people. And the woman said that they are finally putting to bed the notion that their company is in any way evil. And she took them to meet their chief scientist.
Sideshow Bob! Dr. Sideshow Bob.
Sideshow Bob told the family that there's no need for alarm, because he is technically still Shawshanking it at Springfield Penitentiary. He said that the foolishness of the vanity license plate puns was driving him mad. So when the Monsarno Labs asked for experimental subjects, he gladly volunteered. His job was to make sure the experiments wouldn't be too painful for the test monkeys, but he quickly went from subject to scientist. Bart interrupted his story by goofing around, and he almost drank phosphoric acid, but Bob stopped him and said that a mere sip would have killed him. Bob was disappointed that no one appreciated that he had just saved Bart's life, and he quoted Walt Whitman, which only Lisa understood. The woman came back and said that if they're done, Bob has to go back to work, and he asked them if they'll come to visit him again and let him show that he really is trying to make a better world. He offers to talk about Walt Whitman with Lisa.
I think you'd enjoy the company of the campus's lazy, overfed squirrel.
Like he knows what overfed means. Unfortunately, no one paid any attention to Bob, but Lisa looked back at him with sadness. The next day, Lisa asked Marge if she could visit Sideshow Bob, and Bart was appalled by her question. Bart is annoyed and reminds her how Bob is always trying to get rid of them. Homer took Lisa to visit Bob, and they had a blast together, but then Lisa asked him seriously if he is plotting revenge.
I don't plot revenge. It's like love. If it happens, it happens.
I guess he is showing signs of maturity. The next day, Bob and Lisa went to visit a museum, and they were having fun until an installation almost fell on them, but Bob caught it and threw it out of the way. Lisa was impressed, and she thanked him for saving her life, but she was in shock because of his strength, and she didn't understand how he did it. Sideshow Bob told her that he has a confession. As he was working on modifying the food, it occurred to him that he could try to modify himself.
So, how strong are you?
That isn't disturbing at all. Lisa was shocked and she felt betrayed. So Bob asked her if she knows why they came to the museum, and she said that she thought it's because it was tote bag day. Bob said that they came because he's planning to take DNA from historical figures and add it to his own.
I shall be the strongest maniac ever to bring the blessings of dictatorship to the world!
When are they going to learn to trust Bart's intuition about him? Then Bart appeared and threatened Bob with his slingshot, but Bob told him to calm down because he promised he wouldn't hurt them. But Bob also added that he has the DNA of a zombie ant fungus, and he could be tipped into a murderous rage by the slightest annoyance. And that's exactly what happened. Bart and Lisa ran away from him, but he had some new genes with him.
You can't escape me! I've got the sonar of a killer whale!
That doesn't sound like a killer whale, but what do I know? He caught up to them, but this isn't their first rodeo either, so they told him that he couldn't really off them without at least a little singing. So Sideshow Bob burst into song. But then Homer and Marge appeared, and Homer yelled,
How dare you torture my children with Mozart!
Bob began fighting the backup Marge and Homer brought, but then Lisa yelled at him to stop and look at himself. She quoted Walt Whitman to him again, and he realized what he was doing. Bob was overwhelmed by his doings, and he went to jump into the river, and Lisa tried to stop him, but he turned around and told her,
When you're older, write an autobiographical novel trashing the rest of them.
Chief Wiggum tried to console Lisa by telling her that at least Bob will always be a part of their drinking water. Some consolation, that is. But as Bob sunk to the bottom of the river, he opened his eyes and remembered,
Right, I gave myself gills.
He'll never actually die, will he? But would you believe me if I told you that Sideshow Bob actually saved Christmas? Sideshow Bob gets the role of Santa Claus at Santa's Village amusement park. Meanwhile, someone is stealing all the Christmas packages off people's front porches. Bobby, It's Cold Outside opens with Lenny ordering a present for Christmas, but when the package arrived at his doorstep, someone stole it before Lenny could pick it up. Cut to Sideshow Bob painting small Bart ornaments and hanging them on his Christmas tree.
Needs tinsel to reflect the horror in Bart's eyes.
He really is a sick individual. Bob's neighbor came to visit Bob and bring him muffins, although Bob wasn't really interested in her story. But then she said that she mentioned him in town today and he might get some new visitors.
What did you tell them? What?
That you had kind eyes, a beautiful voice, and no wedding ring.
Oh, she's really crushing on him. Sideshow Bob started running away, but then the men said he'd be perfect for the role. Bob was confused and asked them if they were offering him an acting job.
Yes, it's to play Santa Claus at a small amusement park.
What the hell? It is the lead. I'm in!
Bob, you're really selling yourself short. The Simpsons went to Santa's village, and Bart and Lisa went to stand in line to sit on Santa's lap, but then they heard that it would be 8 hours before they got to see him. Bart tried to cut in line, but the bullies wouldn't let him, so he managed to sneak into Santa's house. He got to Santa, and not knowing it was Sideshow Bob, he sat in his lap.
You don't know me, but...
Oh, but I do, but...
Sideshow Bob!
Imagine that unpleasant surprise. Bart was scared, but then Bob said he couldn't kill him because he's a trained method actor and he inhabits his roles. Bart couldn't believe him and he asked Bob why should he trust him, and Bob said it's because he is utterly incapable of stepping out of character.
The jolly old elf himself!
So can we get in to see you?
15-minute break.
Bob says that Santa's busy making presents right now. That isn't very jolly. Meanwhile, Lenny was adamant about catching the person who's been stealing packages off his porch, so he made a decoy with an exploding die maker inside. Carl is worried that he added too much gunpowder.
I learned how to do this from my Uncle Two Fingers.
Yeah, I wonder how he got the nickname. Lenny went out to leave the false package, but then he saw the thief and forgot to drop the package, and it exploded in his hands, while the thief drove off. Carl ran out and asked Lenny who did this to him.
Can you whisper it? Can you write it with your blood?
Ooh.
Now you can probably guess how this is gonna go. The Simpsons were watching TV when the show was interrupted by a special report. Chief Wiggum explained the situation, and he said that the only clue they have are the initials next to the corpse.
He's breathing.
I say he's a corpse.
And I say I'm not.
You don't get a vote.
Okay, Chief Wiggum, apparently the living don't get a say in this. When Bart saw the initials SB, he immediately thought of Sideshow Bob, but Homer disagreed, and he said that a fellow Santa could not steal Christmas, and he said he knows who the real SB is, and he called in a tip to the police.
Welcome to jail, Selma Bouvier.
Of course, Homer's mind went straight to Selma. Bart was still certain that Bob was the one stealing packages, so he went to Santa's village to confront him. Sideshow Bob was annoyed because he couldn't convince Bart he wasn't the one stealing Christmas, so Bart told him he could prove it by finding the actual culprit. Bob agreed, and he offered to take Bart home.
You want me to ride with you? Fine. Shotgun! Let's roll.
Well, at least he's being safe. Bob drove Bart home, and he said he will conceal himself in a box and lay on the porch until the thief comes and steals it. He told Homer to gently place the box on the porch, and he understood the assignment.
Will do. Good speed.
Now, Homer, how's that gentle? Bob waited and waited, and finally the thief showed up. The Simpsons followed them, and finally they saw who's been stealing the presents. If you guessed Smithers and Mr. Burns, you were right.
SB is Smithers and Burns!
Since when does Smithers go first?
What was Lenny thinking? Everyone was confused. Why would Mr. Burns do this? And he said it was his general scrooginess. But Lisa said it's certainly much deeper than that, and she said he must be depressed. Mr. Burns said that he wanted everyone to experience the same Christmas heartbreak he once did. He told them the story of when he was little, and he asked his dad to sit on Santa's lap. Mr. Burns told Santa that he wants a hug from his mom and a smile from his dad, and Santa told him that he is sure a hug and a smile are on their way to him. But Santa didn't know Mr. Burns' parents, and when Christmas Day came,
I'm here to take you to boarding school.
On Christmas Day?
Hey, no traffic.
Now that's just cruel. Mr. Burns said that the next time he saw his parents, they weren't really in a smiling mood. In other words, they were dead. He said that Santa had lied to him, and he was in a bitter mood. But then Sideshow Bob went into character and told Mr. Burns that he had misunderstood him. Sideshow Bob painted him a picture and told him that it's 1935 again, and he is in Gimbel's department store. Mr. Burns felt like a child again. Bob said that the truth is, his parents did love him, not with hugs and kisses, but with something much better. They made him strong.
It's true. Smithers, it's Christmas, which is a work day for you, so help me out.
Mr. Burns returned all Christmas presents and everyone was happy, so I guess we could say that Sideshow Bob saved Christmas, which is a weird thing to say. But even though Sideshow Bob wasn't always a hero, he certainly saved the town one or two times. Bart suspects a paroled Sideshow Bob is up to his old tricks when he is hired by his brother Cecil to assist in the construction of a dam. Brother from another series opens with the Simpsons watching Krusty the Clown prison special on TV, which is an insane program to have, but oh well, that's Springfield for you. Bart made a comment about how criminals are just grown-up men with the heart of a 10-year-old boy, but Marge told him,
Convicts aren't cool, they're bad people.
Krusty then ran into Sideshow Bob, and he said he hasn't seen him in years, and he asked him what has he been doing with himself all this time. Bob answered that he's tried to frame him for armed robbery, tried to off Selma, then he rigged the mayoral elections, tried to blow Springfield up with a nuclear device, and
Whenever I could find a spare moment, I've tried to murder Bart Simpson.
Bart ran into his room and everyone went upstairs to comfort him, although Homer wasn't doing a really good job at it. Marge said that Sideshow Bob is locked away for life and he can't get out, but Bart said that he wants him dead.
And Sideshow Bob is an unstoppable killing machine.
Well, that doesn't really seem like an unstoppable killing machine to me. Reverend Lovejoy told Bob that his transformation is truly inspiring, and that it's hard to believe this prisoner could be the same monstrous fiend who once ran for mayor. The Reverend said that he is glad he recommended him for the work release program, to which Sideshow Bob said that he is touched, but he doubts they'll ever find anyone willing to hire a 5-time loser like him. But Lovejoy had a surprise for him. He had already found someone, and that someone was Bob's brother, Cecil. Bob was surprised to see him, and he couldn't believe he wanted to hire him, so he asked if he knew that he has a problem with trying to off people. Cecil said he is aware of Bob's past, but he is still his brother, and blood is thicker than bread and water. Bob assured him he has nothing to worry about, because he's all murdered out. But when Sideshow Bob was being released, the people of Springfield had gathered and they were protesting. The mayor convinces the crowd that Bob is not a maniac. Bob stood in front of everyone and said that he isn't trying to hide his past, but he reminded them that their justice system is based on the idea that a man can change, and that he deserves a second chance. This somehow convinced everyone, but the Simpsons and Sideshow Bob and Cecil drove off. Later at home, Homer and Marge overheard Bart praying, and he asked God to please kill Sideshow Bob for him.
You can't ask God to kill someone.
Meanwhile, Cecil and Bob were having dinner, and Cecil was explaining what line of work he was in. He said he is Springfield's chief hydrological and hydrodynamical engineer. Bob made a snarky comment about Cecil's job, and he brushed him off by saying that one gets more respect as a humble civil servant than as a homicidal maniac or a clown's sidekick. Bob snapped and said he knew Cecil was still mad and envious that Krusty had picked him instead, and Cecil tried to brush it off by acting like he doesn't know what Bob is talking about. Bob asked Cecil about the buffoon lessons. Cecil remembered the embarrassing moment when Krusty picked Bob over him, and he told Bob that he saw saw his dreams explode, but that he should thank him because it all led to his true calling. Cecil told Bob that he will be supervising the construction crew, and of course, he had a snarky comment to make about this.
I suppose it will be my job to lead the hooting. Oh yeah, shake it, madam. Capital knockers.
I mean, is he wrong though? Bart made it his mission to spy on Bob, and wherever he went, Bart followed, which of course started bothering Bob. He even got Lisa to investigate with him, but Bob spotted them going through his garbage, so he said he is gonna do what he should have done a long time ago.
Your children are no more than a pair of ill-bred troublemakers.
Bob said that if Bart crosses him one more time, he can't be held responsible for his actions, and he left. Lisa told Bart that she knows it's hard to accept, but Sideshow Bob has changed. Bart couldn't believe this, and he was still sure he was right, and that Bob is more the same than ever, and he knows where the evidence is.
Bob's trailer at the construction site?
That's even better. Let's go there.
Bart says he was thinking of the haunted mine. Now, how did he even come up with the haunted mine is beyond me. The two of them broke into Bob's trailer and started to look around, but all they found were blueprints, concrete invoices, and construction schedules, until Bart found a suitcase full of money. But before they could come up with a theory about what Bob was doing with all that money, Bob came in and saw them. Bart and Lisa ran away and he chased after them, but he got worried when they went inside the dam. When he caught up to them, he yelled out to stop tormenting him when he's done nothing wrong. But then Bart and Lisa showed him the money. When he saw the briefcase, he seemed confused, and he said he's never seen it before. He repeated that he isn't a criminal anymore, and that all he's been up to is 100 tons of reinforced concrete. But when he smacked the wall with his fist, it all came crushing down. Lisa accused Bob of cutting back on building materials and keeping the money to himself, but Bob said that he isn't the one who was in charge of the money. Cecil was.
This dam could collapse at any minute.
1 minute past sunrise, to be precise.
I suppose evil runs in the family too. Cecil said that once he blows up the dam, there will be no evidence of missing concrete, and he'll walk away with 15 million. Bob pointed out that everyone will know he was behind this, but Cecil said that people will more likely blame the master criminal, who has a grudge against Springfield.
I know Cousin Merle has had his troubles with the revenuers, but he's hardly a master crim.
Sideshow Bob realizes he is talking about him. Catch up to speed, Sideshow Bob, you're not that dumb. Cecil left with saying he plans to blow the building up with the three of them inside, and when he did, Lisa cried that it's all utterly hopeless. Sideshow Bob is annoyed and says that she always finds a way to foil his schemes.
When Cecil tries to kill you, it's hopeless, utterly, utterly hopeless.
I don't know about you, but I think Bob has the best lines in this entire show. Sideshow Bob said that he will be the one to foil Cecil and save them. So he took them both in his arms and jumped inside a pipe. Bart didn't trust him at first. But hey, what was his other option? To stay there and die anyway? Lisa and Bob climbed the dam, and Bob was about to cut the wires from the dynamite when Lisa asked him if he knew what he was doing.
You don't spend 10 years as a homicidal maniac without learning a few things about dynamite.
Fair is fair. Meanwhile, Bart was supposed to distract Cecil when...
I'm going to do what Bob never could. Kill Bart Simpson.
The sibling rivalry never stops. Cecil threw Bart off the dam, but Bob jumped to save him, although this gave Cecil the perfect opportunity to blow them and the dam up at the same time. Bob said he could snip the wires, although they'd fall to their deaths, but at least they'd save the town.
Bart, how would you like to do something incredibly noble?
This is true character development coming from Bob. Fortunately, they fell into a pipe, and Bart managed to pull Bob up, which surprised him.
I guess this means you can't ever try to kill me again.
Oh, I don't know about that. Joking.
We sometimes forget he did work as a clown. But none of this mattered, because when the cops came, they arrested both Cecil and Bob. Everyone tried to convince Chief Wiggum that Bob was innocent, but all he said was that Lou reported that Sideshow Bob was resisting arrest.
No, I didn't, Chief.
I will bust you down to sergeant so fast it'll make your head spin.
Okay, Clancy Wiggum. I didn't know you had it in you. Bob couldn't believe this was happening and kept saying that he saved everyone. But I guess Bob will never win in Springfield. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and let us know your favorite Sideshow Bob moment in the comments below.